Hello, everyone. My name is Devin Rue. I'm a professional fantasy cartographer and illustrator in the tabletop RPG industry, as well as your host for the Quip and Quill podcast.
Oh, hello, Devin. I'm Marco Bernardini, first of all, and I am a 37-year-old he/they. I am a freelancer cartographer from Italy. And I ended up in this wonderful adventure, mainly inspired by your map. But it's not your map and Francesca Berald.
Beautiful work.
You inspired me to start up my my own cartography adventure. Following my, I used to work as an art director when I lost my job, art director for public events. So you can figure out how the whole pandemic thing. I lost my job like in 2 months. So when I was in my home, I was kind of depressed because I was my day job was so frustrating but paid well. And then I am a long time, and I mean long time D&D fan. I play as a DM like for 23 years. Since 23 years old. Yeah, I started when I was 13, 14 with I believe it was Ghost of Saltmarsh for the second edition. And then I kept playing with some hiatus here and there. It's hiatus, pronounced correctly. It's the pause between the pause between hiatus. Hiatus. Okay. Okay. So I took up mapping, and I was doing free maps for the Facebook Italian community. And sometimes they told me, it's cool. Why don't you do it for a work? and I was, I can't believe I can take it like a work,
right?
Like an official job. But I think my partner is the true reason I did the whole thing, because she told me to gather courage and then to muster up my courage and try it on Twitter. And also, I don't know if you know him, Christian Bellomo, who was known on Twitter as Sage Advice, Zoltar Sage Advice. It's an Italian, I think, influencer for D&D. It's like a 20k to a 20k account on Twitter too. And he told me, Marco, get off from Facebook, go on Twitter. There is the real job for you. And so I landed up a commission for Anthony Joyce and Justice Harman when he wasn't a WOTC employee.
WOTC.
WOTC.
Yeah, Wizards of the Coast. Yes.
Yeah, and we were working with, and I couldn't believe at the time, with Ed Greenwood for Candlekeep. When I jumped the Discord and there was Ed Greenwood. Okay, nice video filter. Who is behind Ed Greenwood? Okay, no, you must be joking. And then Ed showed up with his beard and his hair and so on. No, it's really me. What?
How am I meeting you? Yeah, no, I completely fangirled when I met Ed as well. He's
yeah.
He's amazing to begin with. He's so creative, so imaginative. The person who invented the world that we played in the most, because I've been playing since the 1980s, and I've been playing in Faerun more than I have even played in my own homebrewed worlds, and it's just It's amazing to meet somebody that's like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a never-ending volcano of creativity, and
Yes.
he knows every. I mean, he created the world, and that should be the norm. But he lives in it so much,
Yes.
and you can ask him everything, and he will answer you, even to the most ridiculous question. I don't know if what's the favorite. I don't know. More than Cannon ice cream flavor, or do you know Mr. Loves coffee? Which kind of brew he loves most?
Right.
And yeah, it's incredible. And the same thing I must say for Keith Baker.
Hmm.
And I had the pleasure to meet Keith Baker in Rome when he traveled to Rome with his partner, and
Right.
and I traveled back to Rome, which is my birthplace, so we can add some carbonara pasta together. because because when I knew he was coming to Italy, I was okay, Keith, and I worked with him quite well, quite a lot before he shut down the studio, the Together studio for Eberron, and.
Right.
And I was okay, Keith. You will probably end up in a tourist trap in Rome, so I don't want you to have a shitty carbonara. Let me bring you to a place outside the tourist zone, which makes the real carbonara. So we ended up eating pasta and spending the whole day petting kitties with and cats on in Rome, and talk about everything about my campaign, which lasted 3 years and a half, and we spent from level 1 to 20.
Yeah,
And
I've yet to meet Keith Baker, but I've met him vaguely, but I definitely want him on the show. But I've never been able to sit down with him yet, and just talk to him. So I will. God damn it, I will.
Yeah, he's amazing, and and I believe he shares a lot of traits with Ed Greenwood, because he's so enamored, like enamored, yeah, of his own creation, and so respectful for. He loves it so much that he doesn't judge if you twist or change something in his word. And I think I love most in this setting that he always say in my Eberron and not in Eberron. When it talks about the lore, I don't know, everything concerning Eberron, he always begin with in my Eberron. So it's so natural to do. Okay, in your Eberron is like that, which it's the official Eberron. My Eberron is like that. For example, in my Eberron there is Saltmarsh, because I started the Saltmarsh arch of the storyline, and then I developed a whole campaign around this. So I based the Saltmarsh in Eberron, because we had a Warforged character, and then from the first 2 3 levels, the first 3 levels, it was in the Saltmarsh setting, and then the whole campaign span of the whole Eberron world. So it was quite extensive research, even if it's the Ed, forgive me, it's my favorite setting, because I played it for so long time, since the 3rd edition. I have the whole range of books, and they are so fun, so extensive, so there is everything you want inside of them, and there is so many prompts for further adventure, because Eberron is so vague.
Right.
You can always fit something new inside it.
So before I forget, I really want to talk about the map that you made for and I know that you want to as well.
For Candlekeep.
Yeah, for Spelljammer.
Oh, for Spelljammer, okay, okay, which is fun because it was the second campaign I played, and
Okay.
when I started playing it in my teen years, I looked at the map and I thought, if you can remember the first map for the Rock Brow, and I immediately thought, oh, that's a fucking lot of houses here. There are lots of houses, and the funny thing, my father is an architect and an engineer, and so I grew up surrounded by architecture, engineering books on I don't know, technical drawings.
Okay.
So and I am an architect myself. So I spent my whole life surrounded by realistic shapes of houses.
Right.
When I saw the Spelljammer map when I was I think 14, 15 years old, I tried to figure out what the fuck was going on with some weird shapes. The old vector program probably sometimes fused two shapes together. So there are like losange or pointy form houses lying here and there. And houses so tiny compared to the real scale that this is not a house, probably this is like a chicken coop, and and it was marked on like, I don't know, this is a tavern. Oh well, fuck it. It's a fucking small tavern, one stool.
I do want to interject this for the listeners. A lot of us get information from companies that we work with, like Wizards of the Coast, and they're like, "Hey, this is our concept for it," and they want us to essentially draw it in our style. And the problem is that sometimes they give us stuff that is not to scale, is a very artistic representation of something, not necessarily. And I mean, I understand it's fantasy, so but a lot of times we don't really have a lot of say in like, wow, that's wrong. That is a pub the size literally of an outhouse, or things of that nature. Or like in my particular instance, I drew a bunch of maps that were to a different scale than what was actually put in one of the books. But that's fine.
I think they own the final product. I'm so picky about when I was in my architecture school, when I was getting my architectural degree, I always was told that my project were too ingenieuristic, too realistic, because they wanted the creative stuff, the floating arches, I don't know.
They want something far more artistic looking and
more artistic. Yeah. Okay, but we are not Zaha Hadid. We are not who was a famous architect, a female architect, and I loved her work. And she had like unlimited budget most of the time, so she could work with those flowing shapes and so on. But sometimes, if you need to design a boot for a fairy, you don't have like $10 million to make one fucking boot. So you need to make something that's realistic. And my project maybe were too simplistic in shapes. I don't know, but they were doable, first of all. So my main font of inspiration is the real world, because even if you have sometimes Sometimes you have, I don't know, fantasy urban architecture, which is gravity defying most of the time. But
Right.
if you need to draw a castle, a keep, or something, you must know how to draw a simple roof.
Yes.
There is no. It's not always elven castles or floating castles or I don't know, flying keeps and so on. Sometimes a tavern is just a tavern.
Yeah.
It's like a cigar. A cigar is just a cigar. Sometimes a tavern is just a tavern. So
Right.
if you need to draw a tavern, maybe there are support columns or pillars and so on, and you must know how to place them. For example, Dyson Logos is great in drawing a realistic map because he knows how to create a functional structure.
Oh yeah. Dyson's amazing. I love him.
Yeah, his map is so clear for the DM. Sometimes there is I think the usual. They told me, those maps are so stark, so black and white, so elemental. But I was like, yes, but they are understandable. A map is a technical drawing. We can do creative maps. We can do incredible figurine maps. But a map is first of all something the reader can understand and can decrypt the information from it. I majored in wayfinding and communication signage, and if you can't deliver rapidly an information, you are not doing a technical drawing.
Right.
So if I make a map which is confused, blurry, or maybe it takes too much time to understand how much the distance is from point A from point B, it's useless. I can look at a pretty illustration, okay, that's fine, but it's not a map.
Right. And that's actually a point that I made quite some time ago with a friend of mine. So we were talking about maps, and I explained that my maps are representational. They are, so I originally in my career, I didn't want to refer to myself as a cartographer because as somebody who actually understands cartography and world building and everything else, the things that I draw, I don't consider a map in the traditional sense of cartography.
Yeah,
because mine are illustrations and they're storytelling devices for an in-world representation of where somebody's playing. If I wanted to like convey exact directions, my maps aren't, not that they're not useful for it, because I do draw the land mass to the right scale, but like the features on it clearly are not, because if you can see the top of a mountain, you should not be able to see individual trees. So again, unless those are huge trees.
Wow! They are the lumberjack here. They must be so gigantic. But those are for me allegoric map.
Correct.
Yeah, and there is nothing wrong with that. I mean, most of the time, the 7th century, 18th century map were so allegoric, and they featured, I don't know, sea monsters, huge mountains, and so on, just to make the reader understand what was going on there. But we are illustrators, we are map makers, but I don't think we are cartographers in the strict sense of term, because we are not working with GIS softwares and so on. And I think it's also natural, because if they publish a map in a fantasy setting with GIS map, it would be really weird. About
Yes.
it's.
I think the other thing is that if it doesn't really fit, again, I see a lot of the stuff that we create as storytelling devices, and
exactly.
some things just absolutely break immersion. Like Dyson Logos maps are a great example of this. He is technical enough to convey very specific information, but he's not so technical as it looks like a set of floor plans.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
You have not the impression to look at an AutoCAD drawing.
right.
Exactly. Well, for one of my fonts of inspiration is I don't know, and it's there is just 1 second here. Well, no. Sorry, Kitten was scratching at the door.
Oh no.
Oh,
That's
no.
okay. We can
And,
totally break for the cat to get some love. That's fine.
Okay, no. There is the Baron Studio is was a I think Swiss or German painter who did a lot of cartography art, and I'm sending you a screenshot right now. It was fantastic because he was so skilled in mountain range representation, but he always told the client that he was not a cartographer because for the sake of representation, for the sake of clarity, for example, he he rotated the mountains to show better the I think the I can remember how to say the mountain face the I can remember the slope of the mountain. Okay. Yeah, yes. the slope of the mountain, which was more representative of that mountain range, or sometimes the shapes were swapped between the two mountains. Because he never actually got into those locations. He always drew them for memory or from home, from pictures. So
to sort of explain to our listeners, this is actually a 3/4 view of mountain ranges, which is what most people associate my maps with. So a 3/4 view. So you're kind of looking down at it from a slightly side angle, but still above it. Yeah. And that is not an accurate, by the way, representation of mountains, but it does, depending on the maps that you do see, it is valuable for peak height and elevation if you're not using a topographical map. It just shows the comparison between peaks is what they're ever used for outside of fantasy.
And you can use it as a fantasy map, maybe sometimes maybe to understand what landmark is here and there and the relation between them. But if you need a technical map, it's not the thing you are looking for.
Right.
When I did the Spelljammer map, I was lucky enough to have, lucky and unlucky too, to have an extremely detailed floor plan of the whole city. It was a top-down map. So there is the challenge to make every shape, every elevation, which is the most difficult thing to do in a top-down view for me.
Correct.
To show correctly the elevation without any overlapping element that can show the scale relation on the depth perception. If you looking everything top down, it's really difficult to understand unless you are really skilled with shadow projection on the various elements to show correctly what is maybe on a hill or what is laying down on a slope.
Right.
but when I had these two top-down maps, because there is the upside and the underside of this asteroid, which the rock brow is for our listeners, gigantic asteroid traveling in space with a city built on top of it, and a fort, a military fort, and some fields, croppings underneath it. So we had two different maps, front and back, on the same poster map.
Right.
And they told me it was like 3 a.m. in Italy, and Richard Withers sent me a mail like, Marco, you were looking for a job with Wizard, right? We have something for you. And I was like, they will surely start with something small, because we never worked together with Wizards.
Right.
So I'm sure they will start small, like I don't know, half-page map, a quarter-page map.
Right.
Okay, Marco, we give you 3 months to make this new gigantic poster map for Project Flash. For Project, I can't understand. I can't remember if I can pronounce the. I can tell you the official project name, so you can bleep out it in post-production.
You should be able to after it's been published.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was working with that project, and I was, what is Project? What's Project Flash? Oh, it's Spelljammer. Okay, you need a do you need a maybe a ship map? They were like a ship map, a ship plan, something. No, we need the whole Rockabrow. And I was
right. Right? What do you mean?
What?
You're going to give me like one of the biggest thing? Sure. Okay. You know what? Yeah. Right. And how do you say no?
No, I stared for 4 hours to my phone screen, and I then ran into the night in my studio, where my modules and Spelljammer modules, because I have physically those, and I wanted to make sure that I remember correctly the rock brawl as I remembered, because I'm neurodivergent, and I have like eidetic memory. So
Right.
I can remember everything perfectly once I saw it, and I was so sure I remember correctly that it was so fucking huge. But let me double check. Maybe it was. Maybe I was smaller in 8th, so it was bigger than I remember. No, it was so much big. When I took off from the booklet, I took off the old map. And I laid it on my gaming table, and I went, fuck, I'm so fucking fucked. And because I pride myself to be an extremely detailed cartographer. I love so much the detail, and so I knew it beforehand. I would be totally unable to stop myself not being everything must be detailed. So for 3 months I worked like non-stop, 14 hours a day, just doodling and doodling and doodling and doodling and doodling that whole map. And I did like I think it was like at the end like 3,500 different houses and buildings. Yeah. I think they were like 3,000 or 3,000 buildings. I never use copy paste or symmetry, or sometimes symmetry for most complex ones. So everything was undrawn. And Richard Withers, when I sent, he was it was always telling me, Marco, you are a fucking plotter, a plottering machine. You are not a cartographer, because the city expanded so fast. And I remember when it was time to color it, I wanted to scream because everything was so detailed, and I don't want to color it. Okay,
Right.
I will
Why
do.
did I do this to myself?
Yeah, I will do flat colors. I will keep it simple. I love to lie to myself so much, because I knew, as I was telling to myself, okay, no, they were so so simple colors. I ended up painting every fucking sign on the buildings, every street lamp, every cobblestone was painted with and shaded. So in the end, I worked like so much on that map, but the end result, the files were the file dimension was 25 gigabyte for the upside. Ooh. And 22 gigabytes for the underside. When in the last days, when I opened my Photoshop file, I could, and I have a good computer.
Right.
I went down, make myself a coffee, do some dishes and so on. My PC was screaming like, "What are you doing to me? Please stop this pain!" As the progress bar was slowly loading.
So, do you do the majority of your maps in Photoshop, or do you use other tools? Do you use a ton of brushes? Let's talk the technical shit.
Oh, okay. It varies a lot from, for example, in my past publication, I used the Photoshop a lot. I started and drawn, but as we know, sometimes they require so many modification that.
Yeah.
That with so many details as I do, working just traditionally is really it's really difficult, because you are required maybe to change the line art, to change the color, to tone down some color so it's so much simpler on Photoshop. But right now with Adobe policy on EAI, I'm using freewares most of the time, and like Krita. I'm trying to learn some Procreate, because I don't want feed. I don't want. There are in the last Photoshop update, they forced AI generation inside those programs.
Right.
So when I saw that, I just, through my Adobe subscription, and I said, well, fuck it, but just stop giving them money. I don't want to, because as I was saying, I was mainly an architect, a graphic designer. But when I see every program now containing some kind of AI generation algorithm embedded into the program itself, without any possibility to skip it, or I can upload where I can't search anymore on Adobe Stock without being flooded with that weird sausage fingers AI shit art, and I was so tired, and I say I don't care anymore. Let's use something else. Let's learn something new. But I really want to change my workflow. It was kind of hard to do because sometimes I miss Photoshop. But right now I'm using Krita.
I'm sometimes going to suggest, because I too, a big reason why I'm moving out of Photoshop is also because of their AI policy. I am going to suggest, however, Clip Studio Paint.
Yeah. It's a one-time only subscription or a monthly subscription, like.
It's a one-time only, and I think that you
Oh,
can like purchase other tools and stuff. But you can it's like less than $50 a year to sub to updates.
okay.
Right. But
Perfect.
they specifically do not have AI.
Also Krita has a policy of not. It's a freeware, like much like it's like the Blender of the drawing
Yes.
tools. So, for example, I uninstalled. I stopped my subscription to 3D Studio Max or AutoCAD and so on, and I'm only using Blender, which is kind of clunky sometimes. Where it's so hard to learn, but it's so powerful, and right now I'm painting something for Wizards too. I'm not doing any more cartography for them, and I use for 3D blocking for perspective stuff also Blender, and it's really fantastic what you can do literally everything on it, and
Right.
it's so powerful. When I saw all the things when I see all the things you can do, I became quite a bit disheartened because it's so expansive. It's so I felt like a little bit lost
Right.
at the start.
Yeah, it can be a little
But
overwhelming.
yeah, it's like learning, always learning how to use a new social platform. We are so fucking tired by stuff.
Well, see, now I don't know if I could say that because I love learning new software. I mean, because I couldn't create digital artwork until I only started in 2018. Because before that, technology needed to catch up with me because I am partially blind, and a lot of monitors or tablets that you can draw on, because I can't do. The easiest way to explain it is I lack depth perception because I have no vision in one eye. And because of that, there's a tremendous disconnect between looking at something on the monitor and then trying to draw it while it's not on the monitor. So I need to find a tablet that I could actually see on. And when you lack depth perception, glares and reflections don't separate from anything in the background. So it kind of just ruins the experience and makes it really difficult. And then I had to wait for technology to actually make a surface on it that had some slight resistance, that's like drawing on paper, but also to make it so I could actually see what was on the tablet while I was drawing. And but I love learning new software for it, just because a perfect example is I do have a traditional background. I originally learned my first real experience in art was Japanese calligraphy painting. And
ukiyo-e?
Yes.
Yeah.
And which, I mean, oh god, there's so much I could say about it. I can go on forever. And then I started doing a lot of canvas work and started working in a lot of mixed media because I love the I love being able to really just manipulate paint on a canvas. So I ended up doing a lot of like acrylic work or whatever, but watercolors are still a huge passion of mine. And then when I went over to digital, I couldn't find anything other than the extremely expensive Corel paint. I couldn't find anything that simulated paint well enough that I felt comfortable until I found a software called Rebel.
Yeah,
the State Motion
was good emulating the. It had a really good engine of paint simulation. Yes.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I might actually be able to like paint again. So I I'm really happy that as much as I want to not learn new stuff, because it's like I'm really tired. At the same time, I'm happy that I'm like, oh no, this is a new toy to play with.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah. Yeah, there is a conflict, but for example, I love the fact we are shifting from, for example, in Blender, from a collection of various tools for like 3D Studio Max, Maya, or ZBrush, and so on, with like 10,000 different interfaces. With and Blender gives you like everything you need to for some basic 3D modeling, at least for me, in just one tool. It's great. It's just great. So Photoshop, when I use Photoshop, yes, I mainly use at the start I was trying to being watercolor like as much as possible, because I love painting with watercolor or with oils, because my grandfather was an oil painter, and I love painting with oils. But then I think I overdid a little bit too much, so I used so many layers, so many different brushes, so many effects, and so on. And then I saw my works, and they were too artificial. So right now I am in the process of simplifying as much as possible my workflow. For example, unless it's specifically required by art order, I'm avoiding to create too many layers. At least two of them, three of them maybe, with a line art, and one or two of them on base color, and just one for the overline effects, such as clouds or smoke or light effects, and so on. But I'm trying to refrain as much as possible to the large files I did, because they were so unhandly. At the end, they were so difficult to paint on, and even with a good PC, with a good computer, maybe with just one stroke at the end lagged so much. So I'm right now I'm doing maybe it's messier than before, but I'm evolving with a sort of more realistic style, more I think more traditional, if you want. Right. So I'm trying to use symmetry tools, guiding tools as less as possible, because I don't like anymore the end result where everything is so perfectly symmetrical. It's so artificial, and I posted it on Twitter a little bit ago, explaining why the reality is not always symmetrical, unless you have something like I don't know, like a CNC fabricated artificial machine or something. You can use the symmetry because it's so perfectly symmetrical. But if you look I don't know, at fantasy medieval buildings, they had askew walls, they had weirdly sloping roofs, or missing tiles, and so on, and that's what gives the realistic perception of the whole ambient. For example, Dyson Logos is also an excellent example of this, because or Francesca Berald, because everything is unwritten, everything is undrawn. There are no symmetry tools, so maybe it's maybe that pillar is just a little bit more askew than other, but in the end result is so much more believable if you take your time.
I mean, there's a reason why Dyson and my own work, Francesca's yours. The reason that we are popular, or why our art is sought after, is because all of us work in a much more traditional sense where everything is hand drawn. Yes, it may be drawn in in using digital tools, but it's still, I draw exactly on my tablet as I would on paper. The only
just a
difference
tool.
is I have layers.
Yeah, it's just a tool. I mean, if you
Right.
don't know how to use a tool, it's just if you the digital pen, the layers are just something helpful.
Right.
But it's not the okay, it's so easy, it's digital. It's not easy, because if you can hold a drawing pen, a ink pen, you can paint. It takes just time and practice. And I have so much to learn, because right now I'm in the middle of painting something for a NDA project, and it was so out of my comfort zone when the art director came up to me and told me, okay, Marco, do you feel do you want to accept that challenge to shift from cartography to illustration? I lost my sleep totally. And I was okay. Also because it was a rushed job. I don't know why, because they had need for a half-page illustration in I think 1 week.
Oof.
So I had so much pressure on doing everything right, also because I am a perfectionist. So I tried to study as much as I can, and I took as much as a reference as possible. And but I was lucky, because before everything, I loved painting traditionally, so it helped me a lot. For example, I loved miniature painting. I won 2 times the Games Workshop award, Golden Demon, for miniature painting, and I love painting in oil and watercolor. So I tried to shift my knowledge in my basic knowledge, because I never did an academy or some serious studies in painting, but it was sufficient to do something. I think it was a good starting level for a digital painting, and I'm quite proud of it myself. 1 year later. Also, I did one year. The last year, I did another digital painting, and when I look at right now, I studied so much more. So I think I improved my skill. But I'm proud to try my hand at something new, and I think there is the growth itself. If you stop studying, if you stop, if you believe you arrived at your best point of skill, it's the time you not only you keep the same level. I think you downgrade your level day by day, because if you don't train your skill, they just wither away.
Exactly. If you're not willing to learn other things, stretch beyond your comfort zone, do something new, then you're not giving your skill as an artist any challenge, and you don't improve. And at best you stay the same, but more likely your skill deteriorates, because you become so used to the same thing over and over again that it becomes so what's the word I'm looking for? You do it so mechanically.
Static, yeah.
That, or so absent-mindedly that it's no longer really challenging. You actually won't put your best into everything. So I think it's always important to learn, to try and always stretch beyond.
I perfectly agree also, because I even in my smaller pieces or my most rushed pieces, I try to implement always something I haven't tried before. For example, right now I'm doing an NDA project for Wizard, and I have a little map, a quarter page map. So it's like a really small thing, but I tried something new, and I was so happy how they turned out. But I believe, I believe that's the reason, because the reason why I loathe, I despise. And I'm showing off my vocabulary in English. I despise AI artists in commas so much, because you are depending on a fucking algorithm to assemble something that's not yours.
Right.
You will never. I also have pity of them, because they can't understand how much. They will never understand the joy you feel when you complete something. You complete something that you experienced, maybe pain, maybe sweat on it, or maybe sometimes you are awake at night trying to figure out how to channel the light, the atmosphere, the right to create.
Right.
There is no creation. I'm trying to find the most complex words, but the concept is just the creation. You will never find. No, you will never experience the joy of creation, because it's not something you're creating. It's something you're borrowing, and there is the same reason I can't yeah, sometimes the AI is so, oh wow, it's so detailed, it's so detailed, it's so colorful, and I don't want to delve much further on the technical aspect, because yes, sometimes the image look good, sometimes the image do look good, because the engine, the algorithm is so sophisticated, and I have nothing against AI per se, because it's just a tool. The problem is the ethical aspect underneath it, which is totally unregulated. Okay, unregulated. Thank you so much. And it's so unethical. The whole database scraping, the whole image generation stinks, and it's a pity, because it could be a little life-saving device. I really like to paint and undrawn everything, but sometimes maybe, I don't know, I'm much smarter gradient fill, a much smarter, I don't know, 3D effect on something. It could be useful for something like that, but not creating artificially imagery using stolen databases like this.
I actually really love the idea of an AI tool, in that because I use tons of references and everything else. One, because it does help me capture depth that I personally can't see when drawing like illustrations and stuff. I would love something that I could type in a few words and that would give me a general reference, because I 100% am behind using references while you work. However, and that was originally what I was really excited about when it came to AI coming out, and then to find out that they instead want to use images that are posted on social media and Google and everything else without permission, without compensation, without even a word to all of us that are creating stuff out there. That I have a huge problem with, and that is the reason why I do not support or work with anyone who uses AI, even if it's in an aspect that I personally am not involved in. If any part of the project involves it, not only will I not be a part of that project either, but I won't support it on socials, because ultimately it comes down to it's stolen. And
Yeah.
I have had people message me and be like, "Oh, you don't have to worry. I couldn't generate a map that looked like yours in Midjourney." And I was like, "Why are you fucking trying?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Why? You could just hire me." Like,
Yeah. Yeah, but they once a guy messaged me with oh look, I fed your candle keep up in Midjourney algorithm. Look what come out. Look what a shit you did. What fucking what?
right.
You did fucking what? Why did you do this?
Don't
And
put
right
our
now
artwork in there.
my image, I think 4 or 5 of my maps were scraped and used for on the Lion database. So I found out the hard way, because I googled my name in the database research for the training, and my maps were trained into the algorithm. But this is. And I hate it so much, because it's so the whole AI, the whole accessibility instrumentation would be so great for accessibility usage. For example, automatic subtitles
Yes.
were developed for partially deaf or deaf.
Hard of hearing or deaf, yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I beg your pardon. So hard of
okay.
hearing is not the not a ballistic word.
No, someone who is hard of
It's
hearing is acceptable.
okay. Thank you. And they were creating for that reason. For this same could work for the AI. Maybe I don't have the resources. Maybe I don't have the. I don't know the time to Google to employ a model. For example, if the prompt was okay, give me human skull top left or zoomed in on the orbital cavity. It would be so cool to have something like that, but not if you
not at the cost
steal.
of other people's work.
Yeah, exactly. It would be perfectly fine if you're the AI agency comes to me and they say, "Oh, Marco,
right.
some 2,000 guys or per folks used your map for this month. Okay, let's this big check for for you. Okay, it's cool. It's just I think that's why I respect Blizzard for the video game company, because they are implementing an AI technology in their workflow to generate textures and prompts for their concept artists. But they are training their this AI just with their own resources and their own files. I mean, this is sometimes I'm sure this is. This will be helpful for concept artists. This is also a discussion topic, because it will be sure hard for concept artists to have something generated to start with. But in the end, it's perfectly fine for a company to use their own files to do that this technology, to create this technology, but.
Right.
Not using other database, other folks around the web, because it's just a virtual tracing at this point. It's just virtual tracing. You are stealing some images from folks on the internet. Pray they never figure out, and you're using their style for your own gain.
Right. And this is also a very big reason why I have that big, obscuring logo on all of my maps that I post on the internet. I cannot possibly stress this enough, especially to new artists. your logo serves two reasons. One, it does stop programs like AI or other people from stealing your artwork and selling it because you're obscuring a portion of it. But two, it also makes it infinitely easier for someone to find your work if it is not attached to the post that you originally uploaded it to. And also, always put your logo in a place where if somebody attempted to crop it off, it's going to look weird.
Yes.
So it'll definitely look like a cropped picture. So it has purposes, and it does stop because now if AI attempted to use my maps, it either has to use something that someone else uploaded without my logo on it, or all of the maps are going to have this big fucking logo in it of a purple tiefling as part of the map, because the AI can't distinguish my maps from my logo because they're a part of it.
Yep. Just let's look at the recent AI usage on Big Buy Wizard Manual, and I'm sure that was an incident happened 1 year ago, because the whole art orders were issued 1 year ago.
Right.
But so the Midjourney thing wasn't still it wasn't yet so much important. But you see the difference between maybe an amateurish work and maybe, okay, let's call it a bad drawing, a bad human drawing, a beginner human drawing, and something generated with the or as the artist told on the social media, enhanced on with AI. The output is so fucking weird that even we all remember the third edition manuals. Sometimes the quality of the artwork inside ranged from beautiful, spectacular, to at least questionable, especially for like not main source books, but for example the
module,
the expansion modules and so on. Sometimes there are artworks inside that were why this weird face, but please give me back those weird faces if you are going to use AI. Because at least, okay, this is a weirdly colored face, weirdly shaped eye. Okay, but it's human. Maybe it's just some flat skin value, some textureless wall, or something else. But it's human. It's not that giant, the giant with the weird horns, the Baphomet cultist giant, and that weird spear sword in hand, that looking like a fucking codfish. Looking like a dried codfish. Why? Why you must publish something with a codfish spear? It was so blurry, so messy, so unrealistic, and it's not uncanny valley realistic, because uncanny valley realistic is better than that blurry shit.
As always, our show is sponsored by Legend Keeper, a fantastic world-building tool, whether you're a writer, a GM, DM, or even a player. You can create a world, you can add all of your notes, you can determine who gets to see them, edit them, create their own. And if you own a project, you are the only person who has to have a subscription, so you can bring your players in for free, or your readers, or your patrons. You can determine who can edit, who can see, who can view secrets. And there are so many really interesting tools on Legend Keeper that allow you to link pages, maps, images, sidebars, timelines, calendars, like you name it. There's so much about Legend Keeper that is so simple and yet incredibly effective. we already have, as artists, we already have a ton of stuff that we have to combat every day. Like we were just talking before about, having to deal with social media and how much that changes, how hard it is. I think what people don't necessarily understand is that, especially as a freelance artist, one of the hardest things to do is to find a way to advertise without necessarily sounding like an advertisement, or feeling like you're beating people over the head with your links, or be my patron, here's my Patreon, Plus, especially when you're the one posting all of this stuff, it feels like you're constantly talking about it and that you're annoying people. But also at the same time, like, it's really hard to afford like a marketing company or someone to handle your socials for you, or and the other thing is that because art is so personal, that it's really hard to feel like someone else would be able to share your creations and give it the same kind of nuance or the same kind of feel as you do about your work. So even if you could work with a marketing team, it's really hard because it's like, well, are they gonna answer all the technical questions? Or are they just gonna and we get tons of technical questions. But we also want to put our personality in everything, because that is the point of us doing art. Art is our way of communicating with the rest of the world in a manner that we can't otherwise.
Exactly.
So social media ends up being our main source of expressing that and sharing it. And with everything happening right now in social media and trying to find another place to land, and having so many followers on one platform just to have that become well, we all know what's fucking going on with Twitter, and it's really, really hard for the majority of us because the tabletop space is predominantly on Twitter. And a lot of us got on there. This is how we met a lot of the people that we play the game with, that we are friends with, that we, and to have that ripped out from underneath us and then told, like, we'll just find another place. There's now, another 10 social medias that are on the brink of almost being something, but definitely don't have the depth of Twitter. And we're just slandering around, trying to hope we get somewhere.
Yeah, it's quite sad because I spent so much energy and love on that platform, and I have so many good memories. For example, when you followed me back on Twitter, I was fanboy screaming, and I can't believe this. When Matthew Mercer followed me back on Twitter, or Chris Perkins, or so on, and I couldn't believe, because it was so weird it was so unexpected to change my whole life at 35 years old when I tried my hand with maps, and I went from drawing something free on a A4 map. That's why my nickname was MA4PS. That's A4. It's a standard European form for a sheet paper.
Yep. For paper size.
Paper size. Yeah, and now I'm changing it because it's really hard to read in English. In Italian it's not so hard, but in English it's really impossible to hard. But so I'm right now I'm one blue sky. I'm calling just Marco Maps, and now not Marco MA4 Maps.
Yep.
But I spent so much on the platform, and if I could go back to my teenage myself, to myself in the teenage years, like sort of time traveling stuff, telling myself, oh, Marco, once upon a time, in the future, there will be your maps on a official wizard manual. I'm sure my teenage would playing D&D for the first time will say, yeah, shut the fuck.
Right.
And so having my name credited in the manuals, and it was just thanks to Twitter, and thanks also, I believe, to my human part of the social, because at the start when I joined Twitter, I was trying to be as much detached as possible, not from like Facebook or so on. So very professional, very detached from the political discourse and so on. But I found myself so so inside my own job, because my cartography is part of me, and I am part of the maps. So I can detach myself, my opinions, my beliefs, my values from my own work. So yeah, if I need to, I'm lucky enough right now to choose my own clients, because I have quite a line of commission. But I don't want to be a part of something then I can't share my full line of belief, my full range of belief. So I can be part of a project that uses AI. I can be part of a project that's even remotely racist or something, or bigoted. I turned off a big commission, a really well-paid commission by a famous YouTuber who was trying to employ me for a map for a project called like something like Oriental Adventures, something like that. A white American male trying to for a stereotypical stereotyped project, racist project. And I was no, thank you, no, I won't use your wanton fonts for this Oriental looking map. I dodged like a giant bullet, like Matrix style, like this, and I'm so proud of myself because I prefer right now to earn much less and be respectful of my beliefs. When I worked with for the event communication as an art director before losing my job due to the pandemic, my monthly check was bigger than what I'm earning right now as a freelancer cartographer. But I wouldn't choose otherwise.
Right.
Because I'm so prideful of the things I'm doing right now. I can choose my own work. I can choose with the client to work with. And I'm so fucking angry right now at the Twitter, the whole Twitter train wreck, because I felt like they took a safe-ish place from us, and they just forced us to wander off the internet in search of a new home.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating.
It really is. And, I've said it numerous times before, especially in tabletop RPGs. This is a very emotional industry. We're playing games where we create unusual and new memories, so to speak, emotional memories where we become attached to characters and other people's characters, and we get to talk about the worlds that we create and the characters that we're playing. And it's all very emotional, no matter how you choose to look at it. And because of that, when we are on social media, as the creators that spend, so much time talking to people and hearing their personal thoughts and their love for whatever they're creating and want us to bring to life for them because maybe they can't draw or whatever. To put yourself out there, first of all, just to put your art out there is scary enough.
Yeah.
Right. Not only do we have internet trolls that want to tell us what's wrong with it, but even people who like it sometimes say things without realizing that may be construed as not even constructive criticism, but just criticism. And not, and we are putting so much of ourselves into what we're creating. And then on top of it, we are trying to put our stuff out there. And so you end up being very, very much your own person on the internet and talking about your private life or your beliefs or your thoughts. To have put all of that emotional work into it, just what you create, and then into social media, and then to have that ripped out from underneath you, or to feel like it is constantly being threatened, is just so emotionally exhausting. And it is a big reason why creators, especially during the pandemic, had such a really hard time wanting to even bother to be on social media, wanting to even bother to create, because it's just, there's so many times over the past couple of years where I've gone to draw something that's not map related and just not be able to produce anything.
Yeah.
Because it's hard.
Yeah, yes, it's hard. It's sometimes it's just so tiresome. It's just so the whole climate change, climate destruction. Let's just call it for what it is. The whole climate destruction, rampant bigotry going on worldwide. This is not just an American problem, because whole maybe half Europe is right now following right-wing leaders and so on. So it feels just like. Why do we even bother doing something beautiful for this fucking world that's going like in a flaming trash can? But when I think it will be over when we really lose our hope. There is a beautiful book I did a map for. That's Charles Soule, which is a Star Wars writer and also a comic writer. The map I did was for this book. The last book is called The Endless Vessel, and it narrates of a world plagued by a worldwide pandemic, which not affected directly the body but the mind. It's just a grey, bleak curse caused by the climate change. Everyone, the COVID pandemic, the unemployment and so on. Everyone got so tired of the situation, they literally died inside, and someone maybe just went unhinged, some went just shutting down and so on. And it's one of the most profound, one of the most deep and heartfelt books I ever read. And it has a message of hope at the end, and it's so beautiful because it says no matter what's the situation, no matter how bleak the situation, there is always a spark of hope until someone creates something with love. It changed. It's weird because when I told my client Charles Soule, because he sent me the manuscript to read before the doing the map, and I was skimming through the pages, trying to the first pages, trying to understand the mood, the information I needed. and then I felt so drawn to this book, and I couldn't really stop reading it. And when I saw and I was like, I don't want to sound like blatantly sycophantic, but but it's so good. It's really good, and it changed me, because in that moment I was really depressed, and as I was reading it, I felt depressed, and even more depressed, because the start is quite bleak.
Right.
But then in the end, I cried multiple times during the reading. Yeah, I cry a lot. I cry like for everything. So so it's not really a good scale of what. Yeah, but in the end, when I reached the final message, it was so beautiful, and I'm so proud to be part of that project. Because it's one of the best book I ever read. It sure has its flaws, as everything has flaws. It's not perfect, and no book is perfect. No book is perfect. Nothing is perfect, but it's so human. It's one of the most human books I ever read, and I decided with that book to create human art. This is why I'm refraining so much automation on my maps, because I want them to feel unique, to feel human, to feel heartfelt, like it was this book.
I occasionally will get comments on my art about how something just doesn't look right, or, there's clearly a mistake and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah that's because a human made it. Like, I'm not going to apologize.
Yeah, if you look at the old maps, there are one thing I love of working traditional is that working with oils, with inks and so on, forces you to embrace the error.
Yeah,
it's normal to spill some ink, to spill some paint on a surface. You can't be clinically clean with inks. Maybe you can scratch your surface, you can rip a little bit of paper, but it's like that's why I call it human art, even the virtual one, because it's an error. This is like I don't know, a scar on my face. Would you call it an error?
right.
It's part of me. It's just a part of me. The mistake I make. I'm not maybe so good at drawing hands or drawing I don't know, light, but it's part of me. It's part of my personal growth. Exactly. If I look back at my old map, I see my progress, and that's the errors, that's the little mistakes I made in my career that taught me how to improve myself. Because if we do everything perfectly clean, we will never improve ourselves. So right. I'm glad I'm doing errors here and there. That's just part of the process.
Right. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm really happy that my introduction, or real introduction, I should say, to art was Japanese calligraphy painting. Just because you really have to, the moment you make a mark on the paper, that's it. There's no erasing it. You have to figure out how to make it work, which changed the way. So it actually changed my projection in art, because at one point I deeply considered taking up graphic design. Now I dislike very clean edges. I dislike not in other people's art. Like, I don't mean it like that. if that's someone else's art style, that's great. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, in my own,
Yeah.
if I actually draw a perfectly straight line, other than to just like create a border on the map, I will erase it because I don't
Yeah.
want. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want it so perfect. I love giving everything purpose and character, and embracing mistakes, because it created my art style, and it created its uniqueness. And without that, I wouldn't be doing this for a living, which, as we stated when we first started talking, the idea that that you can have the profession of being a fantasy cartographer just is mind-blowing to me still. Because it doesn't
Right.
seem like it's a job that you could actually have.
Yeah, yeah. It's fun because sometimes when I talk to people, maybe outside the TTRPG field, they are like, "What you're doing? I don't know. I'm a travel agent. Or you work in? I don't know. What you do? I do the little drawings of fantasy places." Like,
Yeah.
what? Yeah, I do maps. But okay, it's an hobby. What do you do for a living? Yeah, that's my that's
Right.
my main source of income. Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that I do this full time is just, the fact that I do it full time is very rare. I don't ever want to give the impression that this is easy to do. The majority of us have partners or a job, either have partners that can help us pay the bills, and or a full-time job on top of it. I, thankfully enough, actually earn a living, can pay my bills doing this for a living. So, without outside help, but I did in the beginning. Everyone does. I don't want anyone to ever think that getting into this will be like, I'm going to put out a bunch of art and magically just, this will be my job every day.
No. That's why I told I will be forever grateful to my partner, because as I lost my job due to the pandemic, she was working in the movie industry, and it had a nice weekly income. So she told me, okay, right now it's a good moment to chase your dream if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My wife did the same thing for me.
Yeah.
When we got together,
yeah.
I was going to say, when my wife and I got together, I ended up, so we wanted to travel, and most of the jobs that I do require me to have incredibly good internet if I do it remotely, or I have to be in office. So either we could travel or not. And unfortunately, I was suffering a great deal with my condition, and I'm immune compromised, and I have a whole laundry list of medical issues. And she was like, yeah, no, instead of trying to fight it every day, we earn enough right now, go pursue your dreams. Okay. And so I did. Yeah, like I actually didn't know what to do with that, because this will be the second time in my life where I had so I did art previously and sort of gave up the career that I used to have doing art. I was just really unhappy with the way the art industry was going for, well, I was going to say for me, but it is like that for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was before internet, because, I'm old. And I'm heading towards 50. I turned 50 in February. So I'm not old. I don't mean it like that. But I just mean like I grew up and was in my 20s before internet existed in the same sense that it does now. So
let's call it ancient. It's much more cooler than old or eldritch. You are eldritch.
I mean, I'm absolutely eldritch. But yeah, so having to have an art career back then was really, really fucking hard. Now it's a little bit easier because you can get your stuff in front of tons of people that you couldn't normally by posting on socials. But that does mean that you're in an absolute sea of other people as well trying to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it just it's really I can't find the word. See, this happens even if you're a native English speaker.
It's so fluctuating. Maybe it's like you feel
Right.
like you are dispersed in a sea of waves, crashing here and there, and you're trying to swim for your own life, trying
Right.
to catch a gasp of air sometimes, and hey, I am all between all those fishes. Try to notice me, yeah, and go down again.
But yeah,
Yeah,
so it ends up all of us need at least a little help in the beginning. So, I mean, it isn't as easy as I wish it was.
yeah. That's why I'm trying to be as that. One thing I love about the TTRPG community is how everyone can be so supportive of each other, and
Yes.
that's beautiful because let's face it, it's something that developed within recent years, maybe with the most diverse background coming into the TTRPG field from here and there, and not the same old folks doing the same old fantasy, the same old TTRPG again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
When people came from all the countries, all the religion, all the sexes, all the genders, all the backgrounds, from everywhere, the whole platform became so much more bigotry-ridden, yes, but also so much more supportive, and that's beautiful because there are whole events such as Big Bad Con, we just devoted to uplift new folks facing into the community and kickstarting new things. For example, right now I'm doing maps for a project called All the Witches,
Mm-hmm.
which is a project I must I must be honest, I offered them a huge discount for the full page maps because initially they couldn't afford my rate, but I was so glad to work with them, and I offered the discount myself because I'm so happy to see something so varied, something so inclusive going on in the TTRPG community, especially after and I will not be silent about this. The J.K. Rowling transphobic shit show.
Yep.
Because for example, my partner was a Harry Potter fan. I'm a much more Tolkien fan myself, but she felt so betrayed, and I'm so angry because I had trans partners and who were themselves Harry Potter fan. So seeing something grow into the community, being Kickstarter so successfully into this community, being crafted with love and with the sheer intent, sheer rage, because this is love fueled by rage.
Right.
And it's so beautiful to watch it bloom into the whole world of the TTRPG that I said, I want to be part of this. I don't care about the money, I don't care about the time I'm spending on this. I want to be part of something beautiful, and I'm so proud of the team because there is so when I see I am in their private Discord, I see their artwork going for approval, and it's so beautiful to see all those different bodies, those different backgrounds fusing into such a complex product and such a respectful product for everyone. I struggled with my weight, for example, for a long time because I was a basketball athlete in my youth, and I had abdominals and I muscles. I was lean and sporty and so on. Then I had an accident, and I had to keep up with my metabolism. So I ate, but I couldn't move. So I ended up being a big guy. And then right now I'm working out a lot because right now likely I had time to create my own gym, but I struggled with body dysmorphia for a long time, and still I'm suffering a lot. Sometimes it's not easy to even right now to look at myself naked in a mirror.
That's why this is a podcast and not a live stream,
a video cast. Yeah. But right now I'm fighting with it, and I'm so I try to live with it. For example, for when Matthew Mercer came out with a body dysmorphia with the vest argument, I was so I sent him an heartfelt message because it was so sweet, and it's so beautiful to see that we are not alone. We are never alone. Even if we think this is what I want to communicate with my maps and with my works and with my myself when I wrote on the internet, that we are never alone. Even if we feel scared, we feel angry, we are never alone, and we must support ourselves every day on every platform as much as we can, because I'm so tired of people downtroding the others just because it's not a fucking challenge. I don't want to be the best cartographer because so I can take the job, all the jobs. I don't want all the jobs. I want everyone to have a great life, have a great work. I'm so happy to work as a mappa artist right now, because every day I wake up, I go in my studio, I turn on my PC, and I smile and listen to music as I work with my cats and so on. And it would be so beautiful if everyone could chase their own dreams to smile every day. And that's why we need to be kind, and uplift other people, because everyone, if they are good people, everyone deserves a smile.
Yes. And I'm a firm believer in rising tides lift all boats. It is another reason why I wanted to do this podcast. If I'm going to have the size of a platform that I do, that I absolutely want to bring other people to the attention of listeners and people that follow me. But also because even if I did want to make maps for everybody, I couldn't. There's not enough time in the day for all the people that want maps. So I need other cartographers. I need them because one, I always feel really bad when I have to turn a project down, especially if it's something that I really want to do.
Yep.
Because I'm already doing other stuff. I also don't want to be... I love diversity. Here's a perfect example. I have been asked numerous times to make sci-fi maps. And I'm like, my style does not fit sci-fi at all.
Yeah.
right? It just doesn't work. My stuff is high fantasy. I will always recommend someone else who I know has a really good sci-fi style to what they create. Or I have suggested, like a perfect example, I've suggested Francesca when I was originally approached to make something that looked a little bit more with the heraldry and everything else. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still do, it's still high fantasy, but you definitely would want to use Francesca because she's just, her work
Yeah.
is absolutely fits that perfectly.
Yeah.
Even though it was a job I wanted, I was like, yeah, but I'm not the best for the job. And I would rather have the best stuff out there. One, because this is my hobby. I play tabletop RPGs. I want tons of stuff and diversity and nuance, and I want to see it as a community thrive. And that's not going to happen if it's the same people making the same stuff over and over again. I don't want everyone to have
it's a slippery slope. Yeah, it's a slippery slope. It's easy to fall in the old schemes and reiterate the
right.
Reiterate the same old errors. For example, I did a lot, 4 or 5 maps, and it's not a lot, but quite a bunch of maps for Planescape, the upcoming Wizard Manual. And I at the start was kind of bummed to they didn't contact me for the poster map. And Francesca did it, but when I saw the end product, and I was I'm so happy she did that, because she has much more ability to convey that weirdness, that weird shapes that Planescape has. Planescape is weird, and it's not my style. It's just not my style. It's I'm much more painterly, more detailed. Planescape is quirky, is weird, is undefined, and she is really, I think, the best choice for it.
She did a phenomenal job. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm much more technical. So if you are going to give me, I don't know, some kind of fort, or I can show you every detail in every cranny and nook here and there. But everyone must understand its own place, and okay, you can improve, but sometimes it's good to embrace its the comfort zone and just understand that there are other folks. This is just, I think, this is a byproduct of the FOMO, the fear of missing out constantly. If I don't take every job, I will be unemployed, or I will be forgotten, so on. But I think we are missing out life, and
I think the other thing is that there's so much pressure to be a part of, whether it's a fandom, whether it's a community. So a perfect example of this is, so I do the maps for Critical Role, and I forgot. I don't know. Matt brought out a map by Jared Blando, or Red Epic, I believe, and I was instantly messaged, "Oh, did you make the map? Did you make the map?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, I didn't." I had a bunch of people ask me if I was upset, and I was like, "Why would I be?" Like, although I'm really precious about Exandria because I love the world that Matt has built. I am so invested in the lore and so invested in the history that he's created, and I absolutely love all of the detail and the time commit that he has made to Exandria is just and has since I've known him. When I first got information to draw the map for the Dwendalian Empire, that alone, I was just like, oh, what? This is a lot of information. Wow, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I know the feeling.
right. And so, so I tend to be, absolutely precious about it. But like a perfect example is Darrington Press redid, whatever, the Taldori book. And they brought back Andy Law, who did the original map for Taldori. And everyone's like, oh my God, are you upset that you weren't asked? No. If it wasn't for Andy's original map, I wouldn't have done any maps. I mean, I might have, because Matt and friends, but it's what propelled the conversations between us. So we actually ended up like, oh, here's a map. I made some fan art because, Vox Machina ended and I was just in absolute tears and had to draw the map. But yeah, so, I was like, no, will I ever be upset if someone else does a map of Exandria? Sort of, because I love the land so much and I'm so invested in it, but not because another artist got the opportunity, like not like that at all. Just because I want to. Because I love it. I'm so interested in it. Yes.
Yes, but this is, I think, the way we are grown up. It's just forever a challenge. You need to be forever the first one to do something, or you need to do the thing better than the others. Otherwise, you will not be noteworthy. This is just the capitalism, just reflecting in us. It's we need to detach from this because we would live so much better.
I think, and I'm gonna stress this probably every chance I get. Things like Patreon allow artists and creators to not be as stressed about earning a living doing what we do. And what it really does more than anything else is even if it's $1 a month, whatever someone's willing to pledge. The first time that I had somebody become a patron of mine, it encouraged me so much that even one person believed in what I did enough to want to support me in any way. So
I still need to understand how to make a Patreon or how to fit in Patreon in my current line of work. So yes.
You know what? I'd be happy to help you with that. We'll do that when we're not recording. I'll be happy to help you set up a Patreon. I think it's one of the best ways to let fans of your art to support what you do and help you continue to make it. Having a Patreon is one of the few things where we actually have like a stable income.
That would be really, really great by you. I wanted to share a message with our listeners, and I beg every one of you to be excellent to everyone and fight your battle if you believe in them. But don't forget to be always respectful for every human around you, always. And yes, we are in the TTRPG community. In your games, please be mindful of the others and never underestimate the importance of the zero session, and define your boundaries, and always ask for consent first.